This news program is proudly brought to you by
Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits
and Now Biscuits.
Civil Aviation Minister Snowbelt clears air on NAC saga. Australian Prime Minister visit confirmed for January 2023. And Forest Authority received land titles in Bulalo, Marape province. Good evening, you're watching National EMTV News. I'm Grace Papiali. Thank you for joining us. Member for Namatanai and Minister for Transport and Civil Aviation Walter Snowbelt officially announced today the appointment of Joseph Tupiri as the acting managing director for the National Airports Corporation. In a press conference held this morning at the National Airports Corporation head office at the Jackson's Domestic Terminal in Port Moresby, Minister Snowbelt stressed that he had no personal issues with suspended NAC Managing Director Rex Kiponge, and under the Civil Aviation Act 2022, used his powers to appoint Joseph Tupiri as the acting managing director for a term of 3 months in a bid to build trust and confidence from the public and stakeholders.
In a packed conference room today at the NAC head office, the Minister for Civil Aviation and Transport, Walter Snowbelt, flanked by acting MD for NAC, Joseph Tupiri, Transport Secretary Roy Mumu, and CASA Director Benedict Oraka and Captain Timothy Narara. The Minister took the time to clarify to the media that he has no personal issues with the now suspended Managing Director Rex Kiponge. Snowbelt adamant that all that was done is because of compliance issues in the industry and that everything he did was on behalf of the people of this country.
The former MD, Mr. Kiponge, was suspended based on grounds of the questions of his fit and proper person status, holding this position as MD for NAC and carrying out the role and responsibility where we felt that he was lacking the management credentials to fulfill his duties.
Minister Snowbelt also made clarifications on the amendment made to the Civil Aviation Act 2022 in the last Parliament sitting.
There's a lot of confusion also surrounding the CASA Act Amendment 2022 that was recently passed on the floor of Parliament. Okay? I would like to stress and state here again for our citizens and our people in Papua New Guinea that all I did and all the amendments that actually took place on the floor of Parliament is no different to the standard and current legislation in relation to the statutory regulatory requirements under all other departments right now. So there was no difference, or there was nothing sinister about the amendments that took place on the floor of Parliament. If it was anything, it was the minister responsible trying to put corrective measures in place to make sure that the law enables the minister to act accordingly.
The Namatanai member revealed that a reputable auditing organization will be engaged to audit NAC so that he will be aware of the financial situation NAC is on right now. The minister also introducing the acting managing director for NAC, Joseph Tupiri. Mr. Tupiri thanked the minister for the appointment and says he has already started and he will continue to work on the time frame that was given to him.
For giving me the privilege to be able to sit here next to our minister. All glory and honor goes to him. Of course, I want to thank the minister, who, by the way, I don't know personally or have any personal acquaintance with him. The only time I met him, I remember, was in the year 2013. Briefly met him when he was doing security.
Tupiri also announced to the general public that it is business as usual for national airports corporations. Samantha Solomon, National EMTV News.
Media houses and journalists who abuse freedom of the media in Papua New Guinea will be held accountable as the government starts to look at strengthening this area that has fallen in standards over the years, especially with the advent of internet technology today. This was alluded to by Prime Minister today in a media statement.
Prime Minister James Marape said the government will now work at holding the media accountable to the highest standard. He further said in that work to hold media accountable, the government will maintain at all cost the freedom of media to write the truth. However, once the media crosses to hearsay, fake news and distortions, that media organization as well as the individual journalists concerned will be held accountable for propagating lies and non-factual reports to the general public. Vital information and awareness on news in our country and around the world is vital. Prime Minister Marape said most times through social media, the country has seen false news causing violence, tension and stress in our society. He said this cannot be allowed to continue. Prime Minister Marape said although freedom of speech is a qualified right, one has to exercise this freedom with due care based on factual information. Hence, our country is fed with accurate news and information. Mr. Marape further said the initial work to strengthen the country's media would be done in consultation with the Media Council of PNG to ensure that their views are also heard in this reform. Meanwhile, the Parliamentary Committee on Communications will be conducting an inquiry into fake news, bad news reporting and social media establishments in the country next year. The inquiry will focus on the role of social media and its impact in terms of fake news, bad news reporting and related negativities on people, communities, businesses and politics in the country. This was deliberated and endorsed during the committee's first meeting in Parliament on Tuesday, 1st December 2022. The committee was established by Parliament in October this year, comprising of the member for Wawaria, Marsh Narawek as the chairman. The deputy chairman is Sem Basil Jr., member for Bulolo, and other committee members include Sasindra Mutuvel, governor for West New Britain Province, Alexander Omi, member for Sumkar, Ricky Morris, member for Alatau, Erman Tobainin Jr., member for Kokopo Open, and Father Simon Dumarinu, member for Central Bougainville. Lindy Suharupa, National MTV News.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister James Marape says the United Nations report on the country's population increase to 17 million is just an estimation basing on the increase in the population in the country. Prime Minister says the real figure will be known after a full census is being conducted next year.
Thank you too much, Almeida.
In a media conference recently, Prime Minister Marape says funds have already been allocated to carry out a full census in 2023. Marape says, according to the NSO office, the estimation for the country's population would be around 9 million to 11 million.
That UN report, the operative word used is maybe. It's a desktop report from what I know, and the assumption is as good as my assumption. At this stage, it's an assumption. We have put money aside for full census in 23 and 24. We'll do a deep look into our population to do exactly the head counts that is required, as well as not just the head count, but do the understanding of our people who live throughout our country. So once that is concluded, I'm not in a position to tell you exactly the exact number we have. From our own estimations at the National Statistics Office, we thought the number could be any number between 9 to 10, 11 million. But UN has put the number at 17 million.
He says the exact number of population will be known by 2024 after the full census is being carried out.
I think gist of that assessment is the fact that our population is growing. Our population is growing. Whatever the number is, the fact is that our population is growing. We have, and in that population growth bracket, we have substantial number youthful populations. And so we have to address these sort of issues. That is why our government has been focused on ramping up education, second chance education, focus on getting economic activities, especially to where the people are. Whether it's 17 million or 9, 10 million, that number would be put to rest when we fully complete the last count. Hopefully by 2024, we start the process in 2023.
He says the 17 million is just an estimation by seeing how the population is increasing throughout the country. Samantha Solomon, National EMTV News.
The Office of the Prime Minister has confirmed that Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese will visit PNG early next year. No official program has been set, but it has been confirmed that his counterpart and PNG Prime Minister James Marape will welcome him upon his arrival at Port Moresby's Jackson's International Airport, with both leaders to meet for the annual Leaders Dialogue. The announcement confirming the new dates for visiting PNG next year comes following the Australian Prime Minister testing positive for COVID-19.
Papua New Guinea has had a unique and long-shared history, which has involved Australia being one of the nation's important development partners. The ties connecting both countries will deepen when Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese arrives in Port Moresby for a 2-day visit on Thursday the 12th and Friday the 13th of January 2023. Prime Minister James Marape is aware the visit and corresponding meetings that will occur during the visit will help enhance and strengthen PNG's already strong friendship that has been shared historically and embedded in it. This will be Mr. Albanese's first visit to Papua New Guinea as Prime Minister and the first in-person leaders talks since 2019 when Prime Minister Marape visited Australia. Mr. Albanese will join host James Marape for the annual Leaders Dialogue in Port Moresby, and in addition to visiting the nation's capital, and according to reports from Australian media, Mr. Albanese will come with an offer of upgraded defence and security support. Albanese will then travel with Marape to the East Hippie capital of Wewak. In Wewak, Albanese will visit the resting place of the founding Prime Minister of PNG, the late Grand Chief Sir Michael Somare. He will also visit the Japanese Memorial Peace Park and Moen Barracks. Australian High Commission said the visit came as both countries approached the 50th anniversary of bilateral relations following PNG's independence in 1975. Rocky Iso, National EMTV News.
National EMTV News continues after the break. Stay with us. You're watching National EMTV News. United States of America is showing interest in Papua New Guinea coffee. 2 senior business representatives from U.S. were part of the delegation that visited Bands in Jiwaka Province for the recent launching of the National Coffee Structure and Policy Framework.
2 American representatives arrived with Prime Minister James Marape and Finance Minister Rainbow Paita on Friday last week for a tour around Bands, the coffee capital of Papua New Guinea. Abo Dieng, originally from Senegal, is the CEO and president of Global Green International Holdings. He has business links with most coffee-producing countries and is one advocate for trade links. Meanwhile, retired Colonel Ken Kelly, also a businessman, is specialized in assisting war-torn Middle Eastern countries. With his vast experience in U.S. force and services in Iraq, he is now a strong advocate for assistance to developing countries. Retired Colonel Kelly, since retirement, has been an active source of contact and has been liaising between U.S. investors and identifying partners. This connection is expected to pave a productive way forward for trade and investment between the 2 countries moving forward. Lindy Suharupa, National EMTV News.
Honey is making its way back to Sorenki, the initial place of honey production in the 1940s, before it moved over to Goroka in the Eastern Highlands province. The launching of the Kokoda honey bee breeding program is set to revive honey production in rural Sorenki, Kokoda and inland Central Province, providing employment opportunities for the locals in the area.
The Kokoda Honeybee Breeding Program is an initiative of the Maoro Food Distributors. This initiative is to give back to the Central Province. This program is for the locals in Nainumu village of Sirinumu to farm bees for honey, and the Maoro Food Distributor will be the main buyer. Chairman for Maoro Food Distributors, Russell Tato, said the demand for honey worldwide is increasing. He said since the COVID-19 pandemic, honey is needed for pharmaceutical purposes.
The demand in the world is increasing. The world is demanding about 4,000 kilotons. 4,000 kilotons is too much, but I think the world is unable to supply that. And the demand is still increasing. And we are lucky we can make use of that opportunity.
The honeybee program is sponsored by the Tourism Promotion Authority with the aim of selling the honey to markets overseas with the brand name of Kokoda Honey. CEO for PNG TPA Eric Mosman Uvovo pledged TPA's support toward the program, stating that they will extend the bee program to other parts of Sorenki in Central Province and into Kokoda in the Northern Province. This will provide employment for the locals in these areas, especially in Kokoda, where they depend mostly on tourist dollars.
This project is a livelihood project, and I think the chairman has already explained, that once we participate in this program and project, it will also sustain our livelihood. Whilst we may have a lot of other things happening, we must also try to do other things that can sustain our livelihood. And the honeybee production is one way that we can utilize.
Mr. Uvovo said he has seen the challenges faced by the local communities living around the mountains of Central Province and Northern, and is planning on launching more agricultural projects and is calling on support from the government.
We also have a bigger plan for the greater Sorenki Kokoda. I am looking at the next major policy submission that will be presented to government to make Sorenki Kokoda a special agri-tourism economic zone. And we are working on it in partnership with other ministries like agriculture and environment.
As the saying goes, if you have honey in your pot, have some in your mouth. This is exactly like what the locals of Nainumu village will be doing, enjoying the local organic honey straight from their own flora and fauna up in the mountains of Sorenki and Kokoda. Cynthia Maku, National EMTV News.
Meanwhile, following the launching of the Kokoda honey, the PNG Tourism Promotion Authority has donated 20 boxes of beehives to the two model farmers in Nainumu village of Sirinumu to start farming bees for honey. The honeybee program is an initiative of the Maoro Food Distributions and sponsored by PNG Tourism Promotion Authority.
To enforce what has been
for local villagers of Sirinumu in Sorenki, outside of Port Moresby, who receives incomes from PNG Power Limited, who pays royalty for the Sirinumu water reservoir, will now have an added source of income. The honeybee program, which will now be kicking off in Nainumu village, is seen as an important project for the locals to participate and earn income. Farmer Silas Sam is one of the model bee farmers. He said he is grateful for the initiative given to them at their doorsteps and said it will provide income for his family.
Honey project mi fili mo se memang pelakan project we. MIC na income lo kami big income straight. So by me looking mo sa future time lo mi this la honey bee by helping me one time more family lo mi na picking lo mi especially go to school na.
While the honey program is given to the villagers in their doorsteps, there are still challenges the local villagers have to face in doing their business. One of these challenges is road. Another model farmer, Cassie Lahui, is calling on the central provincial government for assistance.
Government now must look survey locals. We are the resource owners of Sirinomo Dam. That we were so neglected some years ago when Miplas a stop road blow Mipla no good pla. How suffer Miplas a suffer na stop, but this la project now come lo Mipla like mas road blow Mipla mas good pla.
Alluding to what Cassie Lahui said, the local councillor, Vince Gano, challenged the provincial and local level government to step in and assist the project.
Every one of us must work together to promote all those programs. And the bottom line is, we put money in our pocket. We don't expect miracles to happen. Even though expective government lo come na putim lo imi. We work, we sweat, we earn it. And that's the way forward, my people.
The PNG Tourism Promotion Authority pledged their support to provide more boxes to other farmers in the villages and as well as extending the program. Cynthia Maku, National EMTV News.
BSP CEO Robin Fleming has spoken up against the 45% tax on banks introduced by the government in the 2023 budget, which will come into effect next year. The 45% levy on banks is a 15% increase from the previous 30%. And Fleming said the banking tax does nothing to increase competition, but may have an adverse effect on banks conducting their businesses.
The banking sector has been seen to be profitable in recent years. The sector has absorbed many costs associated with delivery of banking services to the people of PNG. While retail banking has considerably propagated its presence in PNG, there is still a great deal of opportunity for this sector to grow. 80% of the country is considered unbanked, hurdled by geographical and security concerns. Efforts on financial inclusion and financial literacy are advocated to encourage more people to be part of the financial grid. While the banking sector strives to meet the needs of ordinary citizens, the 2023 budget has seen them being hit with a 15% increase on the current 30% financial institutions are paying, with BSP CEO Robin Fleming opposed to the new increase in tax.
And despite having my BSP bias, that's not necessarily good for the consumer in PNG. PNG needs more competition. And to increase the taxes on the banking sector from 30% to 45% does nothing to incentivise anyone else to come into the country and open up a bank. Possibly accelerates the desire of others to continue their exit and will be of no benefit whatsoever to the majority of Papua New Guineans.
Fleming said while it's pleasing that the Additional Company Tax Act will be repealed, the overall amount of tax paid by BSP will not change, and their profits after taxation that are available for distribution to all of its shareholders by way of dividends will still be negatively impacted. Mr. Fleming drew on an analogy with Fiji, despite PNG being the biggest Pacific country.
Fiji's got 1 million people, 6 banks. PNG, depending which report you look at, somewhere between 10 and 17 million. And the facetious part of me is say the 17 million explains why I've got the queues. But whether it's 10 or 17, and you've only got 3.5 banks. And that's not good for the economy, it's not good for consumers.
Despite the tax, the BSP CEO has assured stakeholders that BSP will continue its expansion in the country.
From a BSP's perspective, despite that tax, we continue to provide banking services to as many people as possible. I know that someone asked a question in Parliament a week or so ago about what BSP is going to be doing to address queues and lay. Well, hopefully they did go to Erica and see that we opened up a branch there just on a month ago. And that we are opening another branch in Dobell. And we've got a new lending centre coming here in Port Moresby.
The absence of competition in the banking sector is an important issue for the Bank of PNG and the government to look into, and a tax rate at 45% will be seen as disincentive for potential new entrants into the banking sector. Rocky Iso, National EMTV News.
And now looking at the Nest Fund market report, the Kina closed unchanged at $0.2840 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, Kina was buying $0.2765 $0.4037 Australian dollars, $0.2551 euro, and 37.36 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold is trading lower, coffee closed lower, cocoa closed lower, copra closed lower, palm oil closed lower, crude oil is trading higher, copper closed lower. On the stock market, the Dow Jones closed lower, the ASX 200 is trading lower, the All Ordinaries is trading lower. National EMTV News continues after the break with more stories. Stay with us. Welcome back to National EMTV News. PNG Forest Authority officially received land titles of portions of land located in Bulolo, Marape Province. The documents were presented to PNGFA Managing Director John Mosoro from the Lands and Physical Planning Secretary Benjamin Sampson. These land titles are few of many other estates around the country belonging to PNGFA. The Forest Authority plans to obtain titles of all these plantations with the help of Lands and Physical Planning Department.
Over the past years, PNGFA has had plans to create downstream processing plants and generate monetary benefits through its developer PNG Forest Products. However, the plans stalled due to uncertainties over the ownership of the land PNGFA Estates sits up on. That is now resolved as Position 519, 520 and 521, all totaling up to 12,500 hectares, now officially belong to the PNGFA. In receiving the land titles, PNGFA Managing Director John Mosoro said this is the first of many estates belonging to PNGFA, and there are many other plantations around the country that PNGFA plans to obtain their land titles.
One of my policies here is to generate revenue in PNG Forest Authority. It's a sleeping giant. And this is one of those key areas that we will look at. We will acquire all our assets, our lands throughout the entire country, especially in the provinces where we have our land. And we will also call upon your support as well, Secretary, to acquire all these titles that we have throughout the region.
Handing over the land titles, Lands and Physical Planning Secretary Benjamin Sampson says with land titles, state agencies can legally claim ownership of land and proceed with their development plans with ease.
State land has become scarce. Former landowners are already coming in and claiming the land that they've already relinquished to the state. So to protect the interests of the state, and respective agency must approach us and obtain titles over those land.
Sampson commended PNGFA for working closely with his department to obtain the land titles and urged other state agencies to work with his department to secure state land titles. Thomas Suliambari, National EMTV News.
A big tribe along the Wapenamanda and Wabek districts have voluntarily taken the ownership to maintain a newly built road through their area. The Bire Ayal Valley Road, recently built by the Wabek District Development Authority, has enhanced business activities in this part of the Enga province.
The Ayal Valley is known for producing the best coffee yields, apart from other coffee-producing villages within the Enga province. Due to deteriorating road conditions and inaccessibility of proper road networks over the years, government services were poor to none. With the recent construction of the Bire-Ayal Valley Road, much-needed vital services are beginning to reach the people. Locals are now able to travel directly to Wabek town as PMVs are operating on a daily basis. Daily activities like transporting of coffee bags and other fresh produce are also made possible through this important road link. Since its construction, the maintenance of the road became the responsibility of the Dep tribe, who owns much of the land that the road is built on. Over the weekend, youths voluntarily mobilized and gathered to do cleanup and maintenance along the road. It is understood the Ayal Valley people, consisting of 10 different clans, making up a total population of approximately 20,000 people, will be hosting various religious and social activities to commemorate the festive season. Hence, youths have volunteered to clean and do minor maintenance along the road leading up to these festive activities. Lindy Suharupa, National EMTV News.
Meanwhile, Sorenki Lutheran Secondary School has set history in the Enga province to have one of its former students sponsor graduation awards and made a commitment to pay tuition fees for the top students starting next year. This prestigious church-run education institution hosted its graduation on Thursday last week.
School principal Ms. Payam Yakali told EMTV News that few invitations were sent out for award sponsorship and the response was unbelievably favorable. Former student Tiam Maso, who is a local businessman and an engineer by profession, gave a total of 10,000 kina towards the graduation. He also committed to pay fees for the DAX awardee for next year. In addressing the graduating students during the presentation of the academic awards, Mr. Maso encouraged all students to study hard and make their education a priority. He committed a further 2,000 kina each for tuition fees for the best performing students in grades 8 and 10 respectively. It is understood former students have also given back to the school in cash and kind towards the learning of its students. Principal Ms. Yakali took the opportunity to thank community leaders in surrounding villages for peace and safety of staff and students, ensuring that the school's academic year started on a good note and ends on a high note with flying colors, with 8 of its students selected to attend national high schools to further their education in 2023. Lindy Suharupa, National EMTV News.
And moving to overseas news now, Foreign Minister Penny Wong is leading a bipartisan parliamentary delegation to the Pacific today as Australia looks to reaffirm its commitment to the region.
The first stop of the 3-country visit will be in Vanuatu, where a recent cyber attack crippled the nation's critical infrastructure, including hospitals. The delegation will also meet leaders in the Federated States of Micronesia and Palau while inspecting projects supported by the federal government.
National EMTV News continues after the break with Trukai Sport. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. And during the 3 days PNG Air Track and Field National Championships competed over the weekend, a Paralympian from the para-athletics category, John Kaitiri, competed amongst 7 other Paralympians under 4 events. Kaitiri is a self-trained Paralympian, and this is his first appearance at the National Track and Field Championships.
After having competed in several weightlifting para-athletic competitions, John Kaitiri made his first appearance in the 2022 National PNG Air Track and Field Championships under the para-athletics category. During the course of the weekend-long championships, Kaitiri competed amongst 7 other Paralympians in the shot put, javelin, discus and weightlifting. However, he did not manage to secure a medal in any of these events. Kaitiri summed up his experience throughout the weekend as a great opportunity, and he looks forward to advancing his para-sporting experience going forward.
Thank you. Sports is part of life. Look at the one Mary also play learn and come competition. Bla ready lo go out also bla previous trade lo go out stuff.
Aside of sports, Kaitiri is a 22-year-old Southern Highlander currently pursuing his third-year law studies at the University of Papua New Guinea.
Mr. Third-year law UPNC. From school life, all get something in life, so me still struggling to me come to school. Although place me come stop playing.
Kaitiri believes that education is a part of life and physical disabilities should not stop any person from it. He is aiming to be an advocate for people living with disabilities and wants to be the voice for this group of minorities later on in the future. Lisa Puni, Chukai Sports.
Chukai Sports continues after the break. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. The Southern Nines League tournament is back again this year after 2 years of absence due to COVID-19. Registration is still underway and the committee is looking to host a maximum of 64 teams for this season's competition. Yesterday afternoon, a team managers meeting was chaired by the tournament's president, Ivan Ravu, to discuss the registration requirements of club members at the Grand Papua Hotel in Port Moresby.
The 5-day Rugby League Festival will commence competition for season 2022 on Sunday the 18th to Thursday the 22nd of December and will be staged at the Santos National Football Stadium. Yesterday afternoon, the tournament board held a meeting to brief the team managers on the registration requirements and deadlines as the games are 5 days away till the official kickoff. Present at the meeting were team managers, Southern Region 9's officials and club members. As the tournament is grassroots-based, it will stretch out from within the city to the Motuan coastlines and to the mainland of Western Province. Tournament founding father and director Mr. Ivan Rabu highlighted that the underlying purpose of this tournament is to bring together the people of Southern Region through this 5-day Rugby League festival. Mr. Rabu added that the tournament has so far registered a total of 32 clubs. The other clubs that have committed their names have until Tuesday to pay their registration fees before the committee releases the final draws. Meanwhile, the tournament official draw will be out this week after interested clubs pay their registration fees. Lisa Puni, Chukai Sports.
And that ends Trukai Sports. The Money Plus weather report for the next 24 hours is next. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by Money Plus. With you always.
Take a look at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours. In the southern region, Port Moresby City, cloudy with rain showers and thunderstorms. Popondetta, cloudy with some rain showers and possible thunderstorms. In Momase region, Ley City, mostly cloudy with some evening showers and possible thunderstorms. Vanimo, cloudy periods with some rain showers and possible thunderstorms. In the New Guinea Islands region, Lorengau, cloudy periods with some showers and possible thunderstorms. Buka, cloudy with rain showers and thunderstorms. In the Highlands region, Mount Hagen City, cloudy with rain showers and thunderstorms. Mendi and Wabeg, cloudy with rain showers and thunderstorms.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus, with you always.
And that wraps up the news, sports and weather for Monday, the 12th of December 2022. From all of us here, have a pleasant working week. Bye for now.
This news program was proudly brought to you by
Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits
and Gold Nuggets.